The dead are coming back to life, and nobody knows why. I worked as a grave digger for 20 years before the dead started to come back to life. I was used to burying the dead, but wasn't sure what the protocol was for digging them back up, so I called the police. When the police first arrived on the scene, I wasn't sure how to explain to them that someone who is alive and shouldn't be is crying out from 6 feet below. One of the baffled police officers knelt and stuck his ear to the dirt. "How long have they been buried?" he asked. "20 years," I stuttered as I pointed to the date on the gravestone. The police officer's face turned pale. "How is that possible?" he asked. I wasn't sure how to answer, so I quickly got to work digging the coffin back up. As I pried the coffin open, the police officers stared in disbelief as the decomposed corpse was moving around in the coffin, seemingly alive. Reports of the dead coming back to life started to flood the news. Nobody was sure at first why it was happening, or why it was only a small handful from cemeteries around the country. The young boy was only buried 2 weeks ago. He was only 10 and had died under mysterious circumstances. I remember feeling sad when digging a small hole for his coffin. It was the same sadness I had felt when I had to dig the grave for my beloved wife who suddenly passed away a few months earlier. It was a call the police had strangely gotten used to. They stood at the foot of the grave as I pried the coffin open. Inside was the deathly pale young boy crying to be left out. I picked up his still cold body and handed him to the police. Some of the younger police officers started to cry when the boy called out for his mother. "Don't worry, little man. Your father is on his way," explained the police officer. The boy became physically distraught at the mention of his father. "No, not my dad, please, mister. He's the reason why everything went dark." The boy wrapped his arms tightly around the police officer's neck as his father rushed into the graveyard. He was angry at me for getting in trouble at school and put a pillow over my face, whispered the boy into the officer's ear. As the police arrested the young boy's father, I suddenly realized why only a small handful of the dead were coming back to life. It seemed to be the ones who took a secret to their grave. When the police officers left the graveyard, I rushed to my wife's grave. I could hear her screaming to be left out as I dug up her coffin. Once I got the coffin out of the hole, I began to dig the hole even deeper. At 12 feet deep, nobody will be able to hear her cry out from her grave, making sure she takes the secret of her death to her grave.